feel very lucky to be in an industry which I love. It's suited me to be in there. And it's actually not felt like a job. It's felt like I'm just helping people. And because I'm energetic, I'm practicing what I preach, I live the healthy lifestyle that I'm trying to promote, I'm really able to get that across to people that this is the way to go with everything. And again, the company that you keep is so important. So I want you to really, really effectively look at that side of your life and see whether or not it's not just you that's setting yourself back, because you do have to be accountable for what you're doing, but do look around you in that circle and go, okay, who do I need to have a clear out with, and who do I need to find instead to help bring me forward? Now, the importance of accountability, it's such a big deal that you are accountable for what you do. And when you look back at things, you can say, well, I didn't quite get that done, and I didn't quite get this done, but look at the circumstance behind why you didn't get that done. So a lot of times when I've coached with people, they need an accountability partner. They need someone to check in with. And that is such a good idea. And it actually helps keep you on track. So when you're checking in and someone's asking you questions and asking you why it's not done, or, well, congratulations, you got that done, you would not believe how important it is when people have that accountability behind the scenes. Someone's relying on them, someone's asking them, and most of all, number one, someone is taking an interest in what you're doing. So accountability is such a big deal. It really is. So think about whether you need one person to check in with. And, you know, if you don't want to share what you're doing with even one person, let a journal be your accountability. Let your own private journal be your accountability, where you write something down, you look at something and you say, okay, this is what I'd like to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And just remind yourself that you accomplished something. So think about that. Now, one thing, as you know, I'm in the health and fitness industry, and I've been in this industry for 25 years. And I actually went on as a personal trainer in 1993, 25 years ago, when it wasn't even what I would say, I'm not even going to say a proper job. As you can hear, I'm from England. I actually live in British Columbia now in Canada. But when I was born and raised in England, I actually started my personal training career in my hometown in England. And back then, there wasn't that many female personal trainers. So I had to really, really convince people that I was doing a real job. And yes, I did get paid to help people in the gym. I did get paid to run with people. I did get paid to help people figure out their food, their nutrition, and what was good for them, what was bad for them, what supplements to take, what choices to make. I've lived an alcohol-free life from 18 years old. So I was able to give people the health benefits of not drinking alcohol, not taking drugs. So I really went into, you know, people's lives, definitely from setting an example in mine. So I'm very, very interested in living for 100 years. Again, if you follow me, you hear me talk about the 100-year plan. And now the 100-year plan is extremely important to me. And I want to be here to meet my family that's coming, the kids that are not born yet into this family. I want to be that great-grandmother that people say, oh, we're just off to see Nana Sarah. And I hope that I'm fit enough at that time where they don't need to come and look for me unless I'm on a treadmill somewhere or in a gym or riding a bike somewhere. So that's what I really want to do, is really encourage people to think about living a long life. So back when I was 18 years old and I got the opportunity to be in a gym environment and work as a trainer, I knew that it was the best place for me to be. And in the meantime, it really has been the best place for me to be. I have been always, I don't know for how long I've called the gym my happy place. We've all got a happy place where we feel most at home, wherever that happens to be. I could say at some points in my shopaholic mode, and a mall is my happy place, but at the same time, definitely a gym environment is my happy place. The endorphins that you get from exercising, the good mood that you're in, the results that you find in a gym are great. And also because I've been around the gym industry for so long, it's a place where I'm most comfortable. I can help people, and also I love everything that it gives you. The results from working out, eating well, and doing things, the results are just too good for me not to be in a good mood while I'm doing it. I have had some times in my life where I have had a few days off here and there from exercise, and I have to tell you, my energy level is lower than it's ever been. So if you're listening tonight and you think, well, I haven't got the energy to work out, please know that you have got the energy. If you work out, it gives you an abundance of energy. It makes you confident, it makes you feel good, and it honestly improves your health inside and out. And if you also want to be on the 100-year plan, you need to think about, the long-term benefits of all of the health choices that you make now. So even if you're 20 years old and you're listening to this show, or you're 70 years old listening to this show, I want you to know that your health is so important. And every choice you make through exercise, through nutrition, through stress levels that you put yourself through, they're all related to your health. Now, one thing I try not to do in life, and, it's funny because as I've gone along in life, I've thought, you don't really get that stressed about things, Sarah. And then I realised that I don't put myself in stressful situations that could make something worse. And when I am in a stressful situation, I make sure that I quickly get myself out of it because I don't wish that to affect my mood, my mental level. I wish it not to affect anything. So do think about the stressful situations that you put yourself in on a regular basis. Do you have to be in those stressful situations? Your mental health as well as your physical health is so important. So do think, do I have to be in this situation of this? And honestly, lots of the time you don't. Now, if it's a situation you're struggling to get out of, please get help in getting out of that situation and getting good advice in that area and how you can take that stress level away from you and how that is. Honestly, coaching helps, life coaching, exercising. If you've got to go and talk to somebody, whether it's a good friend or whether you need to get professional help to talk to someone to really help you in that stressful situation, do know that you do not have to do it alone. That's why it's so important, on the other hand, to get people in your circle, people around you that are good for you, do listen to you, do understand you, and do want the best for you. So do think about that. We've talked about, setting goals, the importance of accountability. I want to talk next about self-care and how self-care is important. Now, one of the keynote speeches that I do is called How Self-Care, Ambition, and Fitness Can Help You Create a Life That You Love. And it's so important. When I've done that presentation, people have really listened and talked to me afterwards and said, wow, you know what? We really do need to give ourselves time to do things. And honestly, we have to. We have to give ourselves so much time because we want to live a long life. And one thing I talk about on stage, and it's a phrase that I use, and I didn't realize the impact that this phrase would have. And you've all heard the phrase, well, is your glass half empty or half full? How do you look at a glass? When you look at a glass, is it half empty or half full? And that relates to whether or not you think something is from a positive side or a negative side. Well, I think that you're lucky to have a glass. Well, that just changes everyone's concept about whether or not something is full or empty. Oh my goodness, I've got the glass. What am I going to do with it? So think about that. The full glass, the empty glass. Let's not worry about whether you look at something with a negative attitude or a positive attitude. Let's look at the fact that you've got a glass. Okay, so now what are you going to do with it? So please think about that. We're very, very lucky to have different things in our life, and the gratitude that we have for things, we have to really, really be grateful for that. There's lots of things that we're complaining about today that's someone else's dream. And I know that sounds like an absolute, not another saying, Sarah, but it's honestly true. Something you're complaining about today is an absolute dream for someone. When you've got 3 kids screaming in the background and you've got all this noise and you go, oh my goodness, this is a nightmare. You have to remember there is someone close to you that would love to have 3 children in the background screaming in her house, and instead she hasn't. So think about that. Think about the things that we're blessed with, that we're given, that we sometimes think, oh, dear me, that's such a nightmare. Oh, my car's broken down again. Oh, this is a nightmare. Some people haven't got a car. They would love their car just to be there. Never mind something that can be fixed. So think about how we look at things, how things are given to us, how the gratitude is that we feel for things makes such a difference to how we look at everyday life and how we have our mental state, our physical state. Think about that. I also want to think about self-care and how important it is, but I also want you to think about what is self-care to you. We've all got a different opinion of what self-care is. Now, I'm going to tell you what my self-care is, and it may be different to what you think is yours. Now, mine, I love to go to beauty salons. I have done my whole life, and when I started to earn money, I guess as a late teen and early 20s, I did spend money going to salons because it honestly put me in a good mood. I felt good, I looked good, and I liked it. So I did spend money around salons. I love to go to the hair salon, I love to go to the nail salon, I love to get pedicures. I love to do all of these things. And I know some people say, well, that wouldn't relax me. That wouldn't do anything. But seriously, for me, it does. I exercise on a regular basis. So I'm exercising still now, 25 years later, 5 or 6 days a week. And that to me is self-care. Because if you're not energized and you haven't got anything in you and you're not full, how can you give back to others? So think about that. Think about, okay, well, I'm tired and I haven't got time for this and I haven't got time for that. That's what I want you to spend time doing, figuring out what self-care means to you. Also for me, as you know, if you follow me, you know I'm a big green tea drinker. I love tea. So a lot of my spare time is spent just sitting drinking tea with a friend. Because I don't drink alcohol, I don't feel the need to be in a social environment, in a bar, in a nightclub. I did when I was younger, so I don't want to say that I'm, boring and I'm not doing anything. But definitely when I was younger, I was in that environment. But now, my self-care really revolves around spending time with good friends. I love good friends to sit with, chat with. That's a big deal to me. And I give myself that consistently. And people say, well, how do you find time for that? You're so busy with everything that you've taken on. I really am busy, but I'm never too busy to sit with somebody that wants to have green tea with me and chat and talk and go over some different things. So think about that. There could be so many things that you're missing out on doing that's self-care that's going to make you feel good. Now, because of family commitments, work commitments, a ton of commitments that we take on a weekly and monthly basis, sometimes we're going to say, okay, I haven't got time for self-care, Sarah. I want you to start off with 10 minutes every day. So if that means you've got to actually sit on your own somewhere for 10 minutes, drinking a cup of tea on your own, looking out of the window, just sitting still, being on your own, that's where the self-care is going to come in. Another side of that is, I so believe that exercise is so important, and it's so important to have that self-care and look after yourself and give yourself that good health. I want you to think about how you can fit exercise into your daily life. So I don't mean you've got to join a gym today, although we're going to talk about that later. I don't want you to join a gym today and think, right, now I'm going to spend 2 hours in the gym. You're not going to. I want you to be able to see the importance of exercise and how you need to spend some time exercising. Even if you haven't got a dog, please go and walk for 10 minutes somewhere. Go and do something. Look at the benefits. Read more about health and fitness. And know that there is no bad side to being healthy. There really isn't. It gives you such vigor, gives you energy. And there's a saying that I use in my presentations where I say, oh my goodness, she's so full of herself. And that could look like someone who's overconfident, someone who's a little bit arrogant, someone that believes they have it all. But to be full of yourself, to me, means that you're able to give back to others. You're able to give back to others. So you say, okay, I'm full of myself. I can give this, I can give that. But when you're drained down to absolutely nothing because you're not looking after yourself, you can give nothing to others. And whatever you give to others is of poor quality. This is when your own family probably starts complaining about you because you're not having everything in place, the energy, and you're not really that good company. We already know that. So when you haven't got any energy and you're not, able to work well, be efficient, be happy, then that's when you worry that you're not getting things done. And that's where the stress levels come up. That's where things aren't feeling good. That's when you need to think about self-care. So do believe that you have to understand that self-care is so important. Okay, so why do you need to plan ahead for success? Okay, you all know the saying, by the seat of her pants. I don't know if that's an English phrase or not, but I've heard that phrase for many, many years. She's going by the seat of her pants. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you've got no plan in action at all. You've just thrown things to the side and you're trying to get along with things. And what are you trying to achieve? Oh, I don't know, seat of her pants. Seat of her pants mean that there's nothing really going on. So I want you to think about when you plan ahead, you do succeed. Even if you're just going to do something such as a road trip. You wouldn't do a road trip without planning where you're going. You wouldn't just show up and go, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. You need to put a plan together. So that's what I want you to think about. Why do I have to plan something? And, it just seems like it could be too much work. It could be this, it could be that. It doesn't have to be a lot of work. It really doesn't. It just needs to be that you've planned ahead. So one of the keynote speeches that I do is called How Mindset, Self-Care and Ambition Can Help You Create a Life That You Love. And when I'm on stage talking about that, I talk about the history of my life. I talk about that I was born in England. I had a Jamaican father and an English mother. So my house was absolutely fun-filled. And that is an absolute understatement. If you've ever been in a house of a Jamaican and an English